What's up, y'all? It's your girl Shay Renee, and we are back to talk about the Queens of R&B with SWV and Xscape, Season 1, Episode 3, Discord. And can I tell y'all something? Candy really had a ball buster at the end. Make sure y'all like the video on your way in and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. So, like we always do, let's get into it, shall we?
Can't ball in a life, man. Go on with it, go on with it. Do us. So we are coming with a force. Yeah, blessing the reap and we coursing on.
All right, y'all. So the episode starts off where Tiny is at home with the kids. She's dancing around in her Crocs with heels. I ain't never seen no damn Crocs with heels, child. But okay, when you rich, you can get what you want. Okay. Candy is at the house with the kids, and they're going over Ace's followers on YouTube, child. He got 17,000 followers. Daggone Ace is more popular than me. Come on, y'all, subscribe to this channel. Because I can't have a little kid having more subscribers than me. No, I'm just playing. Love little Ace and Blaze. Okay. Then we have then we are at Tamika's house and her daughter is there. They're cooking some stuff and she says something smart out of her mouth. And she's like, why you always got to be a little smart butt? And she's like, you must get that from your daddy's side of the family. Then she says, wait, you probably get it from me. So moving on, we see Taj and Tasha meet up at this museum of sorts in Nashville. Okay. So they're meeting up just to kind of connect and chit chat about a couple of things. And Taj talks about how, at this that they used to have Destiny's Child come on their tour sometimes to just kind of like meet up with them, and they would like really just look up to SWV, like they really were like super fans of theirs. And Tasha was kind of elated over that, like, oh wow, you guys were really that much of an influence where like Destiny's Child was looking at y'all. And I hope that she looked at that moment like, maybe if Xscape was on their stuff, it could have been the same for y'all. But y'all over here carrying on about some foolishness. But moving on. So then they go around and they look at the montage of it all of SWV, different artists, and then they get to the one for Xscape. And Tasha gets overwhelmed and she's like, man, this is great. I love for my grandchildren. They're going to grow up and they're going to look at this and be like, wow, my grandmother really made a really good foundation for us or whatever. Girl, no, you didn't. Because you want to be known for everything but daggone Xscape. You act like you love the group so daggone much, but do you really? Do you really? Okay, but moving on, y'all. That lady just irks me every time I see her. But moving on. So they sit down and talk about their, basically Xscape's issues and her issues with her sister. Taj, tells her that she met up with Tamika and they had a conversation. And, Taj is pretty much like, what is going on with y'all? Like, what gives? And Tasha is like, well, there was some disrespect, some body shaming going on. And, with me and my sister and talking about my butt and all that. And she was like, now I know y'all ain't upset with each other over some little booties now. Because Taj, I'm really glad that she said that, because it really brings to the forefront how childish and stupid this stuff is. And I don't think that really sinks into Tasha's head that looks dumb. Like, y'all are really arguing over you having a little booty. Girl, get a life. Or better yet, get a surgeon. Like, everybody got a big butt nowadays, without trying. You can get one too. Child, move on. So then she said, so Tasha cuts Taj off, which I was like, girl, so you realized that was stupid, so you wanted to try to trump it and make it sound worse. So then she's like, yeah, and Tamika was disrespecting my mother, and we're having some issues between her and me and my mother that we need to deal with, and whatever the case may be. So Taj was like, oh, okay, well, that's just, unfortunate. You guys really need to work on this stuff. And then Tasha proceeds to tell her she's getting a solo deal, and that's why she's actually in Nashville, because she met up with Motown Gospel. And so Taj asked her, so does the group know about this? Did you tell anybody about this? And Tasha was like, well, no, I didn't. And then she says, I just think it's time for me to do my own thing, be not fearful this time and just find my freedom. And I'm like, girl, listen, you can do your solo thing. Okay. You can do that, but you don't have to go about it. It's just the way that you're going about it. You're going about it rather sneakily. And it's just not a good look. It really isn't. And my thing is, you going out here singing gospel songs and you just as devilish as all get up. You don't have any decor about yourself. This is not very businesslike. This is not very, it's not the God in you, child. It's not very godly. It ain't sanctified. And you need to stop. Seriously. Because if I am Motown, the record deal, I will be looking at you like the shady individual that you are. But on the flip side, Motown is probably looking at her like, maybe we should sign her because then all this drama that's surrounding her, people are going to be looking into her. They're going to want to listen to her music just to see if it's that great for her to leave this group. And she's riding the coattails, which she hates that she's doing because she's so pissed at Candy and Tiny's success. She don't talk about being pissed at Tiny so much, but I'm pretty sure she has a little hidden jealousy for Miss Tiny too. But she's riding their coattails because they're the ones that are out here shining currently. So now that you're associated with them, you're going to get more looks at your album, if anything, for people to scrutinize it or maybe see if they like it, whatever. Or you may just get those people that are like, you know what, you trifling, and I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure that it's not successful because you are trifling. And people in the church, child, Lord knows, they the most judgmental people ever. They say, judge ye not, for ye shall be judged. But child, put that in your pipe and smoke it. But moving on. In the next scene, Coco meets up with her close friends, Tamika and Troy. Let me say this. I love Troy's freckles. Ooh, I love, love, love a freckled face. Okay. I had one of my close friends. She has a lot of freckles on her face, and I was just hoping and praying her baby would have freckles, but he didn't. But he may grow up and get them, but that's just a side note. I love his freckles. He is so handsome. But moving on, they talk about Coco working nonstop and still doing out here doing her thing 30 years later. And now it's her SWV's 30-year anniversary. And Troy talks about how everybody's talking about it on social media. She's like the big SWV is like the big thing now. And Coco is like, oh, really? Oh, that's great. You know, she's being sort of humble about it. And then Coco goes into talking about her being diagnosed with bipolar disease in 2017 because they started talking about, they asked her about her mental health, how she's been doing with all the working that she's doing and whatnot. And basically, as good friends do, checking in on her to make sure that she is okay. Okay. And so that's one thing that Coco says. She loves these two because they are really on her side outside of the glitz and glam of it all. They just look at her like a normal person and they really care about her as Coco the individual, not Coco the SWV artist. So moving on, she says that what made her finally look into her issues is because in 2017, child, she thought about actually offing some daggone body. Okay. And she said, nope, let me pump my brakes. This time for me to get some help. So she's gotten the proper medications. She's been able to level herself off and she's been living a very prosperous, happy life. But she says it's a day-to-day thing to make sure that she stays on track. So her and her friends are sitting there laughing and talking. They're talking about her friend, her other friend, Tamika was there. No, her name is not Tamika. Was it? Child, I don't know. Maybe her name was Tamika. I might have wrote the child's name wrong. But anyway, she says she makes her friend, the female friend that was there, makes a joke saying that SWV is not young anymore. And Coco says, girl, this PUSSY gets wet still like I'm 21. I'm like, oh, child. Oh, my friends in the chat helping me out. Marilyn Taylor says, hello, what's up, Marilyn? How you bees? Thank you so much for joining me. Lavinia Gibson says, greetings. Greetings, Lavinia. Thank you so much for joining me this good evening after SWV. She says, agreed. Lavinia says, Tamia. Yes, child, you know autocorrect. They be making people's names what it ain't. So Tamaya, I think that's what she called her, Tamaya. Yep. Thank you so much for correcting me, Lavinia. So yes, so Tamaya is there with her and her friend Troy. Okay, so they make a joke about Coco's pouditoire, and they all laugh, and I'm just like, yuck! I don't want to hear about Coco's juices in the middle. But anyway, moving on. It was nice to see her with real friends interacting and such. I feel like SWV gives the calm to the storm of Escape. So it's like we don't have constant drama throughout the show where we're just having all these heightened emotions. They kind of even it out and balance it out. And this was a great balancing act. So moving on. Coco is getting ready. Lily is with her cousin getting ready, and Taj is at the airport. They're going to Pittsburgh for a show. And in the next scene, we see Tamika is at home, and this is the scene where her mom is coming over so they can have this big talk. So Tamika is cooking. She makes her mom's favorite dinner, and Elder Glow comes in the building. Okay, she come in the door being extra negative, child. She coming in saying, her Tamika says, "I'm happy to see you, mom." She was like, "Really? Are you really happy to see me?" I'm happy to see you too. No, it don't look like you are. It really is giving that you're not. Okay. I don't know what's going on with her mama. It's very, very negative. But child, let's keep going. So the mom, they sit down to talk. And Tamika basically lays it out and tells her mom she feels like she shows favoritism with Tasha, and she doesn't like it. She feels like her mother doesn't allow her to speak up for herself. She never protects her. She's always on Tasha's side. And, she just doesn't like that. And so the mom says Tamika is very disrespectful. She says, "You are very disrespectful. Tasha is not." And she is, and basically claims herself, Elder Glow, as the fifth member of Escape. Okay, she talks about how the dad walked out on them and she had to struggle because of it, and she just doesn't deserve Tamika's disrespect. And she's the one that put them on to rock the mic and put the mic in her hand, and she is the silent member of Escape. I'm like, child, girl, I don't get it. So they show these pictures of Tamika and Tasha with the dad. And it seems to me the daddy was the one sitting at the grandfather piano. So is he the one that put the mic in their hand? Because judging by that wig that you got a little push too much forward, that you need to take maybe like 2 centimeters back, Elder Glow. I don't know what your problem is. You came in here on 10, okay, on 10,000. It's like you were ready to jump down Tamika's throat. And I just, one thing, and this is a side note that I don't like about moms from back in the day, like they don't ever want to accept when they're wrong. They always want to put it back on you, like it's your fault. Like I don't know if in when these women were born in the 50s and the 60s, they just were just told that they were right all the time, and that because I'm old, I can say what I want, and everybody should just conform to my ideals. No, you're wrong. You are very wrong, lady. This is your daughter, and you are just coming in here ready to hammer down on her. And it's really tough. It was really, really tough to watch. And I could just feel Tamika just cradling into her childlike self against all of this stuff that her mother is doing. Like she's trying to find her energy and her power. And her mother is constantly in a battle of taking it away from her. So then, the mother goes on to say that she's going to be the one to always tell Tamika when she's wrong because nobody else does. And here's the thing. Why do you always have to say that she's wrong? What about the times when she's right? Have you ever said that she was right? The girl can't be wrong all the damn time, child. But moving on, Tamika says her mom looks at her like this because she's a daddy's girl. She looks just like her father. The mother heavily resents the dad, obviously. And my thing is, yes, y'all were married. He left you. You were a housewife at one point. Then you had to struggle. Tamika talks about how the mom had to struggle once the dad left or whatever the case may be. But you don't take that out on your children. Your husband leaving you should not make you change or alter your feelings towards your children. There is nothing. Me and my husband will be married for 10 years in October. There is nothing that he would do that will make me resent my child. Never. That my son lived inside of my body for a little over 9 months because he tried to stay longer than his keep. That's somebody, he loved his mama. He always under me, child. If he was here, he'd be trying to get in the camera. If y'all watch me enough, you know. But my son, I would never be able to do that to him ever. Anything that came out of me, I've birthed them. I'm rearing them and raising them. There is no way I could ever look at my child and resent them because of a man. Yes, are your children a product of said relationships? Absolutely. But they should not be a result of your anguish towards your previous partner, okay? The mother got to get some intense therapy and get over that. I really would love for the season finale episode to be Iyanla coming in and fixing all their damn lives, because this right here is just absolutely insane. So moving on, the mom says that Tasha is crushed, and Tamika, talks about her husband Rocky, and she don't know how she can even sleep at night. Child, what are you talking about, Glow? And I don't mean Glorilla. You really are acting like a big gorilla right now. This is just ridiculous. I just don't understand the mother and her mentality. It's just insane to me. This lady has some serious mental health issues, and she has some really terrible anger issues that she really needs to deal with. And Tamika says Latasha is not upset. She was like, she should have been upset when she was stealing my damn money. So she says she stole my money. And, she basically doesn't like how the mother is always speaking up for Latasha and Rocky, but she can't see how, that can affect her. And she never speaks up for her. She's like, why are you always defending Tasha, but you don't never defend me? And you are sitting up here really like putting the things that they do on a pedestal. It's just really sad. It really, really is. So then she goes on to say that Rocky is always in her business and causing strife and taking money off of her family's table. And that's not right. And her mom never has anything to say about that. So the mom then goes on to say, ain't nobody taking money from you. First of all, she tried to really pipe up and say that real fast. Girl, now Tasha and Rocky swipe or no swipe that damn money. Just stop. Just stop. You know she did. Mind you, that was a nice car the mama pulled up in. I wonder if they gave her a coin or two to give to the church and put towards this new car. I'm just saying, $30,000 is a lot of money. And allegedly it's in counting, because he is still taking said royalties, is what I've heard in the blogs, but I don't know how true that is. So again, Tamika goes on and she apologizes to her mom for disrespecting her and says, however, I apologize, but if you can't take my feelings into consideration, I'm going to have to take a step back because I'm just tired of getting beat up on. So the mother gets upset and she's like, what you mean take a step back? Lady, it means ease on down the road in your brand new car that my sister probably gave you the money for. Girl, get out my life. Walk out my life. And you can put the Monica white shoes on while you doing it. Don't play with me. Because her mother is doing the absolute most. Now, you don't want to, it's very funny how in this scene, when Tamika is taking her power back, seemingly, and she's taking a stance, and she's basically setting boundaries, the mother don't like that. She's like, because I want to continue to beat up on you at my discretion. You can't take control of this. You want to take control now? Oh, no. She's not used to that. So now she wants to calm down just a little bit. And then she wants to act sympathetic. So then the mom says, she snatches Tamika's face, still being aggressive, okay? Aggressive elder. And she says, she loves her and always will. And she's sorry if she feels like she's been less of a mom to her and more of a mom to Tasha. And she apologizes again and says, I'm here for you, and tells her she loves her more than anything besides the money that Tasha allegedly stole. Moving on. So Tamika says she's in her confessional, she says she's happy she finally put her foot down, and she hopes they can move forward and have a healthy relationship. And then they hug and embrace each other. Girl, don't hold your breath. Because toxic mothers like this come a dime a dozen, okay? I don't know what it is about these women that were born back in that day and age, like I said, but the power struggle with mothers and daughters is one hell of a drug. It's ridiculous. And it's very evident in this dynamic. And it's really hard to watch and it's sad. So moving on, Candy and her cousin Kenyatta are in her kitchen at her house, and they're talking about Taj coming over. So Taj comes in, and they talk about Taj's trip to Africa. Then Taj asks if she's Candy has talked to any of the ladies in the group, and Candy says, no. We haven't really made any strides to move forward with anything, basically what Candy says. So then Taj tells Candy that she ran into somebody she knows. She was like, yeah, I met up with Tasha in Nashville. Apparently, she was at Motown looking into some gospel options. Okay. And Candy says, wow, this is history repeating itself. She did the same thing in the past when we were younger, trying to basically, she was getting nasty and angry with us. Her ego was beyond. And she was treating us bad because she was getting a solo. She was trying to get her solo deal. And now, looky, she doing the same thing again. Okay, child. My thing is, if you have been constantly, here's my thing. If you've been dogged about how you treated your group members in the past and how you moved in the past and it looked bad and people obviously had to have told her that didn't look good, why would you do the same thing again? And then this time you did it on TV. This TV. We see you. We see what you're doing. You can't hide this. And I don't want nobody, I can't stand when people be like editing and da da da. No, you knowingly said out of your crooked mouth that you didn't tell your group about this solo deal that you were going out here looking for. I don't know what Tasha is seeking in life, and I hope she really finds something in what she's doing. I really wish her success. She won't be getting any streams from me because I just don't like the way Homegirl is moving, but it is what it is. So then Taj talks about when Coco did that and how it made her feel. And she said it just really pissed her off. And, regardless of what Tasha is doing or what she's going through, she would really love for Xscape and SWV to move forward with or without Tasha. She thinks that this will be a great show. It will be huge. It's history in the making. And basically, they ain't going to let Tasha hold them back with her ego. Okay. And so, she says she tells Candy that they should come to their SWV's rehearsal next week, and so they can get things moving and start being creative and move along. So Candy says, she thinks the same thing, and let's make it happen. Okay. Child, Tasha is really trying to come up off of the success of what's going on with Xscape and the attention that they're getting right now. She knows what she's doing. She knows that this show is going to get high viewership. She knows that people are going to really be looking at this, but I don't understand why she doesn't know that people are smart and people are going to look at you negatively. I don't know what part of this that you thought that people were going to look at you and be like, yeah, I really want to support her. Girl, bye. Lavinia Gibson says Elder Glow. Child, yes, that is Elder Glow in all of her fineness coming through that front door with her white outfit on, the devil in a white suit, child. Please. She played herself. Elder Glow, you played yourself. Okay. Terry T. Baby Davis says, hey everybody, I'm in the background listening. Hey Terry, what's going on? How you bees? Vonnie Love says, good evening, everyone. New subscriber here. Yes. Thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Lavinia Gibson says, I don't think she actually knows what she's searching for. She doesn't. I think Tasha is constantly looking for her own identity. She wants to, whatever that looks like, she wants to be the star of her own show. She's not the star in her life because Rocky constantly eclipses her with his ego. He's constantly controlling her. Back in the back of her mind, she probably knows Tamika sounds better than her, but it's just never been, known to the forefront. She hates the fact that Candy has gone on to be this big business tycoon like she has. And I think that part of Tasha really feels like that should have been her life. But as I continue to say, You can't be hateful of somebody else's life when you haven't really done the things to create these opportunities for yourself. All you doing is sitting around being grumpy and negative. You're not going to get paid for that unless you want a reality TV show showing it. And you haven't even been doing that. When you was on R&B Divas, you still was trash. So it's just like, girl, it's not attractive. Get yourself together. You talk about all this positive energy. Like, I just really want her to do all the things. Get you a damn sound bowl. Get you some yoni eggs to shove it up there so it can give you some positivity, child. Do something. Do something, because you need to do something to get it. It's just really draining. I could not imagine being your sister, your friend, let alone anybody around you at this point, because it's just sad. So moving on, we have a lighter scene where Lily and her son Kyrie go to grab some drinks together, and they're having a conversation. Lily has two children, Kyrie and Margaret, and she expresses how, her children, she loves her kids, but she ain't never gonna be their friend, child. But they have a pretty good relationship, so they're sitting there talking, and she makes a joke about the bartender being attractive and how that could be his stepdaddy or whatever, and he's like, yuck, I don't want to hear that about my mama. So they go into how Kyrie is a artist himself, and she says, you know what, I'm not just saying this because this is my son. He is really, really good, and I just want him to do well. But she also talks about how Kyrie is kind of leaning on her success to be successful, and she really wants him to get it out of the mud himself. Yes, she's going to do whatever she can to help him, but he really needs to do a lot of things on his own, because he needs to be able to sustain his success. And you can't do that where you're constantly riding on on somebody else's, let alone your mama's coattails. And I agree. I think a lot of it has to be hard being the child of a successful artist, because number one, you're always, for the first thing you're looked at as is Lily's son, or um Mariah Carey's son or daughter, or child, who else is out here and trying to sing under their, and they sing and their parents sing too. Who knows? It's always like that, whether you're acting, singing, whatever. You're always going to revert back to, oh, that's so and so's child. But you don't really want to be known for that. You want to kind of branch off and do your own thing. And you want to be known for your own talents. And she really tried to put that into him. So she tells the story about after SWV broke up, how she was broke. She didn't have any money. She was living in her car. She was driving around New York looking for places to be safe, to sleep in her car. She used to always sleep by Yankee Stadium so that nobody would bother her. And she was always afraid of, being assaulted in some sort of, sexually. So she always wanted to make sure that, she was safe. She got a job, got her GED, got her life back on track. They started going back on tour once the group got back together, and she was able to put her life back together. So then she talks about this sexual audio book that she's doing, because she wants to be able to have something outside of the group, which I can appreciate. I think that when you put all your eggs in one basket for one thing, that's never good. Like, even me, I have a full-time job, and my job pays me pretty well, but I have my own businesses. I have my own things that I'm passionate about that I do, and they bring me monetary revenue as well. And I think that everybody should have that. People always say you should have at least 3 to 5 streams of income minimally. So kudos to Lily for finding her niche. And she actually has the voice for that. She has like a sultry, little sexual, tantalizing voice. Okay. And she makes a joke. She says, nobody wants to think about their grandma doing missionary. And the son is like, I don't want to think about you doing no damn missionary. So it was nice to hear that story about her. But one thing that raises an eyebrow for me and kind of makes me look at artists that literally go broke, is it because your deal was that bad, or was it that you weren't saving money? Like, you hear that like a lot with a lot of artists from the 80s and the 90s, where once they are no longer touring, they don't have any money. And I'm like, I can imagine y'all were making way more money than the average Joe. So it brings me to wonder, what are these people doing with their damn money, child? But that's just a side note. So moving on, Tasha is in the studio working on some songs, child. She talks about how it's so liberating. She loves being in the studio and she just lives to sing and blah 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 and do those unnecessary ass runs that she do. I'm like, girl, shut up. Shut up. Okay. Sing the song and don't take us on a railroad track of foolishness. Just sing. Okay, but moving on. That child, she irks me. So Rocky, of course, brings his old rockhead ass up in there and he dancing into the studio talking about anime. Hmm. You would pick Ike to perpetrate. What else you doing like Ike, Mr. Rocky? The way Tasha act like she dead behind the eyes every time you come around and you the damn whiz behind the curtain telling her what to say all the time. What y'all doing in that house when the camera's not there? I don't trust Rocky. He gives me very slickster, very untrustworthy, but she like it. I don't love it. Moving on. So they sit down and talk, and she tells him about Candy sending her a message. This must have been when Candy had a damn number, child, because she ain't got it now. So Candy messages her telling her about the meeting with SWV. So he asks her if she's gonna go. She says, I don't know. I don't know yet. Girl, you need to be on the first thing smoking in that. You need, matter of fact, you don't need to meet them there. You need to beat them there. You need to be the first one there. Because you, my friend, have nothing going on for yourself. Get yourself together and put your ego in the trash, but whatever. So he says, obviously it's bothering you what's going on with your sister, with you and Tamika. And I know that, that can be draining and that's probably taking a toll on you. And it doesn't add any extra harm that, it does add extra harm that she's talking about me in this situation, what she's accusing me of. Although I forgive her, I just don't really know why she's doing that to me. And so Tamika says, he doesn't get it. So then he asks her if she talked to Xscape about what she's doing with the solo album and whatnot. And Tasha says she still hasn't told them. She's trying to keep it close to the chest because in the past, when she wanted to go solo, something always happened. So, she's just trying to make sure that everything happens this time. She's still on this, like Candy stopped her daggone album from coming out. Girl, stop. Why haven't you tried since then? So you want to go to gospel because Candy doesn't do gospel and she probably don't have no connections over there? So she probably isn't the one that she can't mess up your solo career. Girl, stop. But whatever. Do what you got to do, sis. Okay. So she basically gonna hide it from people. She talking about she don't want to put the cart before the horse, but whatever that means, child. So then Rocky says, just think about it and go, if anything, go grab the mic and remind them of who you are. Girl, Rocky, please stop. You are making it like this girl is Whitney Houston. Yes, Latasha can sing. Nobody can take that away from her. But so can everybody else that's in that room. Coco can blow. And if you ask me, she sound better than Latasha. And it's really not a dick measuring contest between the ladies. It's really not. All of them have phenomenal voices. They really, really do. So it's why does she have to be like put on this top tier above everybody? Girl, go sing the song, collect your check, and go home. Why you got to do all of this? It's like she needs praise with everything that she does. And it's absolutely sickening. And he's actually built her head up like Genghis Khan. I don't understand. But moving on. In the next scene, Coco's son Jalen is seen coming in the house. He must have just come from playing tennis because he had a tennis racket in his hand. And he sits down to do a video. He's talking to his followers and he's singing. So Coco comes out of the back room talking about, shut up all that noise, like jokingly and playing around with him. And he's like, Mom, I'm doing a video. And she's like, oh, my bad. So then they go and sit down and talk. And she's like, so how are you doing? What's going on? And he talks about singing and how he wants to, do all these things with singing. She's like, when are you going back to school? Like, you need to, like, school starts soon. You're going back to school. And he's like, well, I kind of want to talk to you about that. I don't want to go to dental school anymore. Like, I don't want to be a dentist anymore. And Coco is like really upset. She's like, what are you talking about? You are going to school. Like, I didn't get to go to college. Your brother didn't get to go to college. You aced your first year with your eyes closed. Like, you really, this is what you always wanted to do. You were passionate about this. Like, why all of a sudden you don't want to do it? And he's like, I don't want to do this. I don't, I shouldn't be made to do something that I don't want to do. And so she's like, no, Coco says in her confessional how, singing is a very hard thing. Like, 1 minute you're up and then the next minute you can be down. And if you can't handle that emotionally, that can take a toll on you. Like, she doesn't want her son to go through the trials and tribulations that come with singing. And he just doesn't get it. Like, he just wants to do what he wants to do and what makes him happy and what makes him feel fulfilled. And I get what Coco is saying, because she's like, you need to have something to fall back on. She's like, you can go to school, be a dentist throughout the week, and then you can sing on the weekends. And he's like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do it full time. But I feel like, in situations like this, he's young, he's 19, but people always, child, we allowing kids to make big decisions nowadays about who they want to be in the biggest way. So at even younger than 19. So it's like, he should be able to make his own decisions. He's old enough to know what he wants to do. But I do appreciate Coco giving him some precautions, because people look at being out here, being an artist and all this stuff as like this amazing thing. But it's really hard to be a billable artist. It really, really is. You see all the time how people are getting railroaded. They're not making money. Hell, Lily was just talking about her sleeping in the car when her album wasn't selling. I mean, when she wasn't out here singing with SWV. So it's like, I can see that Coco doesn't want her son to go through those hardships. But it also may because Coco does everything for him. So financially, she's always there for him. So he doesn't really see any hardship with this. I think a lot of times when you're a child of an artist, you think that your parents are really going to handhold you throughout this process and bring you all of the success that's going to make you this big time star. And it just doesn't work that way. I'm like, hell, you were just talking about, you just asked your mama for a Balenciaga bag at the beginning of the scene. And she was like, well, you become a dentist and you can buy your own damn bag. So it's just really tricky. So she says, well, you got to tell your grandmother. So he's like, I'm going to call her right now. So he calls his grandmother and tells her. And of course, the grandmother is like, you don't know what you want to do. You only 19. And she said that in the last episode. But it's like, yes, he's 19, but he seems that he has really made his mind up about this. So he starts to get emotional. And he says to them, listen, this is what I want to do. I don't want anybody controlling my life and what I do. And the grandmother makes a suggestion. She says, well, why don't you just take a year off to figure out what you want to do? And if this is what you really want to do, then you better be successful in this year. And if you're not, you take your tail right on back to dental school. And I agree with that. You got to allow people to fail or prosper, because he could go out there and do really, really well and, be like, listen, I told you so. And Coco was like, you wasn't like this. She says to the mother, you wasn't like this when I wanted to quit school and sing. And the mother's like, well, look at you now. And so they have to allow him to make his own mistakes. And I think that it's his career to take on. It's his career to be successful at. And if he's not, then he has to make the adult decision to go back and go to school and become a dentist. So the mom gets off the phone and Coco says to Jalen, I'm pissed. You have pissed me off. So she ain't too happy about Jalen and dropping out of school, child. But moving on, let's get into the comments. What y'all saying? What y'all talking about? Vonnie Love says, I don't think she actually knows. She's okay. Wait, I already read that. Iverson Money, what's up? What's up? Thank you so much for joining us. Says there's no way Candy stopped her album. Tasha was featured on quite a few rap songs while with the group. Yeah, Tasha was doing ad libs and everything else on people's songs. So yeah, Candy is not stopping. Candy is not the monkey that's stopping her show, child. Okay, one monkey don't stop no show. And that's how Tasha needs to live her life. She's so caught up in what other people are doing and what other people think and all this, that, and the third. She really needs to focus on herself and do what she needs to do. And a part of that is doing what makes you successful. If you being successful means you being in Xscape and sometimes and doing some solo stuff sometimes, then that's what you need to do. But you need to put your big girl panties on, not to be confused with you having a little butt, and move the hell on. I don't get it. Linda Gamble is in the building. What's up, Linda Gamble? How you bees? Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody, Linda Gamble is speaking to everybody. I love how Linda comes in and greets everybody. She is a absolute gem, y'all. Y'all, shout out to Linda Gamble. I'm surprised Angie ain't in here too. They are my mods and they are amazing. Shout out to them. Love you guys to pieces. So moving on, in the next scene, SWV is rehearsing and they're talking to their manager and they discuss the schedule and basically they say that we got to make a decision right now about this show. Are we or ain't we gonna do it? Okay, period. Let's make a decision. We only got a month to make a decision. Okay. So Taj says she tells the ladies and the managers that she talked to Candy, and Candy and Candy, Tiny, and Tamika are pretty much willing to move forward without Tasha if she doesn't do it. And that's just what it's gonna be. All right. So in the next scene, Candy is in the car, shown talking to Tiny on the way, and she's already at this point told Tiny about Tasha going solo and kind of shopping deals to do her own thing. And Tiny is like, listen, at the end of the day, we're going to this meeting, and if she don't want to be there, cool, we gonna move on. She shouldn't let no little solo career stop her from making money. And that's the thing. Tasha is so caught up in the imagery and the glitz of people seeing her that she's losing sight of the financial stability that this is going to bring her. And that's where she differs from Tiny and Candy. They're not out here looking for people to look at them in admiration. They don't care about that. I've never really seen Tiny and Candy, outside of Candy saying, I'm worldwide on RHOA. But outside of that, they are very humble and they're all about stability financially. Like they're always out here getting the bag. And that's what's in the forefront for them. So maybe if Tasha does that, she can be more successful and get her emotions together, because all this extra shit is nonsense. But Tiny basically makes a claim that, this shouldn't stop us from making history, her solo career. So we're in the last scene, y'all, and I'm gonna tell y'all, this scene really took me somewhere, because I didn't. Candy, I love you, but we're gonna get into how I feel about her little comments at the end. Eliza Triplet says, "Hi everyone, sorry I'm late." No, you are never late. Thank you so much for joining us. How you bees? How you bees? Thank you for joining the chat. We appreciate you. All right, so all the ladies come in and sit down to chat. Taj starts the conversation because, of course, everybody dry and silent, child. They don't know cat got their damn tongue. And she says she's happy everyone's there. And she said they need to talk about the plan. And she says, let's just do one big show, one hot ass collaboration, and everybody put their hands in. So everybody puts their hands in except prune face Tasha. She's sitting over there like, girl, put your crusty nails in there. You know you need to put your hand in that damn. Put it in. Your hand should have been first. But she over there hesitating. And then Coco looks at her and was like, girl, I know you lying. If you don't put your damn hand in here. So then she eventually, so Coco says, what's up, Shorty 240? What you doing? You ain't putting your hand in? And so then she finally puts her hand in. So then everybody starts to talk business. So the SWV managers say, they have to do the show in the next month. That's just what it is. And Candy says, obviously, we've been doing our own show. So how big is this going? How we know how big this is going to be, but how's it going to look as far as billing and headlining? Okay. So the manager says it should be co-headlined. And I agree. Like Candy, I get it. And Candy makes the point of saying that, she feels like they should have top. They've had top billing on their tour. So, they will basically, she want to have top billing on this tour. And Taj says she thinks that they should co-headline too. And Candy says, okay, like, I fuck what you feel, but I feel like we should have top billing. But I feel like this. Candy makes a point of saying that her and Tiny have the more, the larger following. And while SWV has been touring and they've been out here doing their thing and doing it well, they are not really yes, they've sold 30. Coco makes a point of saying, I know you lying. I ain't about to be daggone showing up and like basically you the headliner and I'm opening up for you, I know you lying. You sold 7 million records to my 30 million. Ain't no damn way. And I respect that. Coco has a point, because while Candy and Tiny have, you know, the biggest following and whatnot on social media, they've been on TV and all these things, I can get their side of things, because they're like, listen, we're going to guarantee you sold out no matter what. And even SWV, they can argue we've been selling out shows and we don't have all the social media following that you guys have. So what are you saying right now? So both arguments can be listened to. But if I'm SWV, I will be looking at it like this. Y'all can't even get your group together. Homegirl was just over here acting like she had arthritis and couldn't put a damn hand out to be on the tour. Y'all, however, y'all did say y'all will move forward without her, but y'all can't seem to get it together. And you haven't been getting it together because you haven't been on tour for the last 30 years like we had, like they have. Y'all just simply are not, y'all don't have y'all business together. We have our business together. So for us to be the artists that basically, in a nutshell, have our shit together, quite frankly, we should be the headliners, if anybody gonna be headlining. But I feel like it was very respectful to just co-headline. And Taj makes the point of saying, what, you want your letters to be bigger? Like what? And Taj is shady. She was like, oh, your tour. You mean the tour that you just came back on? Basically saying like, girl, you ain't been touring nothing but your, like, what? Y'all ain't been doing an Xscape tour of nothing. Maybe an escape room in the last 30 years, but y'all ain't really been doing nothing together. Y'all have been escaping each other. That's what you've been doing. We, on the other hand, just came back from Africa, you see, and we went to Pittsburgh. We done did shows, all right? Y'all ain't did, okay? But sit up here and argue and bicker over a booty and somebody mama being mad. Girl, what? I know you lying. So I get it. They are entirely pissed to the highest level of festivity. And even Tiny chimes in and she says, listen, we get it, you know, but I get what Candy is asking. And I'm glad that Tiny spoke up, because this is one of those situations where Candy will look like the bad guy just because she's more vocal with things. And she did bring up a valid point. But again, Candy, I love you, but I'm not on your side, sis. You really you don't have the room to be sticking your neck out talking about how you know, SWV should be headline. I mean, you know, basically starting the show for y'all. That in what world would that ever make any sense? They've been artists longer than y'all. So out of respect, you should have presented that a lot better. That just really came off very egotistical the way you brought it out there. So moving on. Coco and Lily are just pissed, child. They like, I know these just ain't up in here trying to tell us that we opening for them. That is never going to happen. And Coco goes in the back and says, I sold 30 million records. Okay. And the manager was like, listen, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. But, you know, we got to get this together or there don't need to be a show at all. Because Coco at this point, from how she's looking at her vantage point, she like, we've been doing good without y'all. We don't need y'all, actually. If anything, y'all need us to get you back out here in a positive light. Because, yes, y'all doing y'all little shows and whatnot. But, child, y'all really look very negative out here. And this is going to put y'all, the placement is everything. So, you know, while I can see both sides, I do think that Candy could have presented that a lot better. And I also see why Lily and Coco are frustrated, frankly. And Taj says she thinks it's very disrespectful for them to even say that. You know, Taj and Candy have been cool over the years, and I can see where that probably rubbed her the wrong way for Candy to say that. But on the other hand, Taj does understand. She says, well, Candy and Tiny have been on TV with their TV shows, so they have the social media presence. They have the presence out there. So I get it. But we've been opening up for people in the past. We at a point in our career when we don't need to do that. We ain't doing that no more. Period. Okay. So Coco is in the back and she says this is some next level bull. Okay. And she ain't with it. All right. So, child, I don't know. I don't even think this show ever happened or it ever is going to happen. Lavinia Gibson says exactly. She says SWV paved the way for Xscape. Exactly. So how you gonna sit up here and be telling them that they need to open up for you? Girl, you opened your mouth too fast and you need to close it. And it needs to end with an I'm sorry. I know not what I do. Okay. Linda Gamble says Xscape needs SWV. They do at this point. Because with all the scrutiny that's going on with Xscape right now, it's just too much. Like they have a lot of negative energy around them. They are just really, they need to heal as a group. They need to call whatever counselor SWV went to and they need to go to one themselves because at this point, it's just like y'all don't even have y'all stuff together. So how you gonna come in here and tell us how to do something that we've done very well for the last 30 years? Y'all, shout out to my husband and my son coming in the back. Linda Gamble says SWV went on tour by themselves. Yeah. So Candy tries to bring up the point that Xscape went on tour. They've been doing tours and they've been headlining their tours and whatever. And Taj is like, yeah, your tours. But this one right here, you won't be. And I get it. I wholeheartedly get it. But child, I think co-headlining is the best remedy for all of this foolishness. It really is. Like there's no need for anybody to have their ego get in the way of this, And I get it. Candy is like, listen, I want you to know, me and Tiny are the ones that's really bringing everybody in here because while Xscape is popular, you couldn't. Someone in their 20s, right? Someone in their 20s, maybe early 30s, they would recognize Candy before they recognize Coco, Taj, or Lily. That's just facts. It really is. Like people in their 20s, even in their teens, are probably watching The Real Housewives. They were watching Family Hustle, stuff like that. They're not looking at SWV. They may have listened to their music when their mama was cleaning the house on Saturday morning. And, they may have realized, oh, this person sampled this song from, so on and so forth. But child, like I've been saying, I would love for the season finale to be Iyanla Van Zandt coming in here to fix the group's life because Lord knows they need it, child. Because at this point, it's just absolutely a mess. If they didn't do that in this season, they need to go ahead and go back in and retape or have a separate special where she's sitting down and talking to them and coming out of retirement because this is just really messy. It's crazy. It's really, really crazy. Iverson Money says co-headlining works. They both are major groups. Absolutely. 100%. Eliza Triplett says they need a young girl. Yes, you and I are on the same page, sis. Absolutely. Linda Gamble says, or Dr. Francis needs to come in. Child, not Dr. Francis, child. He couldn't even fix that Marceau and Martel, child. I don't know. But he would be the one to come in there and tell them the truth. I tell you that. But y'all, that's all I got. Thank y'all for watching. Please, please, please come back. I review Summer House, Jersey Housewives, Xscape, the SWV show. I also am reviewing Love and Marriage DC, and I will be picking back up on reviewing Love and Marriage Huntsville when that comes back out. Both of the last two shows on the OWN network. Thank you all for all of your support. I so appreciate it. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know whenever I come back on to talk to my good sis and friends. And I will see you in the next video. Peace out.